everybody. Today is August. It's in August, about middle of August. And we're going to kind of look and see what's blooming and going on in the garden. In the flower garden, we have our crepe myrtle is blooming. And it looks like I got a little one down here that I need to transplant. This one has not decided to do anything this year. Then we've got the hibiscus that still hasn't bloomed. The petunias are still going. Now, I let them self-seed last year, and these are volunteers that came back up. I was really surprised. Oops. The water lily is not blooming anymore, but it's still putting out a lot of leaves. The roses are still blooming. Look at the seed pods on these hibiscus. Those are beautiful. This crepe myrtle is blooming. This is supposed to be a tree one, but Shoes, that German Shepherd puppy, decided to turn it into a bush by breaking it off when it was real small. This rose needs to be deadheaded. The squash has given up on this one. And back here, we have our newest little member of the family, which is this little kitty. I bought these petunias, and hopefully they'll reseed themselves next year. The stubbies are done blooming, but I usually don't cut them off. I usually leave them because the birds like to eat them. I told you I couldn't grow a pumpkin. This pumpkin's gone too. I had a nice sized pumpkin, and we had a windstorm, and it just blew it right out of the cradle, and it rotted. This squash plant has had it, but you notice I planted a new little squash plant right next to it, and that's doing really well. This little cherry tomatoes never got very big as far as the tomatoes, and right now I'm just kind of leaving it for the birds to eat since there's nothing else in this area. The hostas are blooming beautifully. Out in the bird garden, we still have some phlox, and the roses are still blooming, and the Rose of Sharon bushes are blooming. All of the bee balms have finished blooming. We still have some phlox in the background blooming, and a few roses. They just got through blooming really big, so they're ready to be deadheaded. And then we have the sunflowers. This is actually the prettiest of them all, and it was even prettier a couple weeks ago. But this is a memorial sunflower. A friend of ours died of cancer, and these were given out at the dedication of a shelter house at the church camp. And so I want to kind of save these seeds because it's actually one of the prettiest sunflowers I've ever grown. I like to save the seeds for next year. The asters are getting quite tall, and they should bloom in September. And then if you walk on out this way, we'll go check on the gardens out here. The asparagus is doing quite well out here, as are the rest of the herbs. I need to get in here and actually harvest some of that spearmint and the got spearmint, got lavender, we got oregano, thyme, rosemary, lemon balm, parsley, and that's it back here. We haven't gotten any farther on the little shed back here, but the chickens seem to be quite happy. That's the new little cage run that I bought them this year. And the chickens in the chicken park seem very, very happy. I had to separate the rooster, that's who's back there in the back, in the red cage. He was being too aggressive with the females. Now back into the secret garden, which I have not had a chance to do much with. The only thing blooming is the jewelweed. See the little orange flowers? That's the jewelweed. Now jewelweed grows really close to poison ivy, which is going up this tree. And that happens a lot in nature, where you see the cure for something right next to the cause of it. And then nothing else is really blooming in this garden right now. Got a couple of trees I may have to take out. Mosquitoes are bad again, so I'm going to have to get out here and get rid of them. And then I have another Rose of Sharon back here blooming. We've got the Rose of Sharon blooming here in the entrance garden as well. And the lilacs are all done for the season. The little driveway garden has a few things still blooming. Most of them are done. Right now it's mainly the marigolds blooming up and down the area. Now let's go out to the main garden. As you can see, in here has gone just nuts. I mean, look at the size of these cucumbers. They are just beautiful. There's another one around here somewhere, unless someone's taken it. And there's some more little cucumbers down there. It's gone beautiful in here. On this side, bring it over here, you can see my red peppers. I let these go completely red so that I can get the seeds off of them. You can't get the seeds off of a green one. The seeds just aren't mature enough. We've got plenty of tomatoes over here. My squash plant, the basil, that watermelon plant that's going crazy. Another squash back, not squash, but cucumber back there I see. And then let's go out and see what's in the main garden. This bed is my turnip bed. I got a row of turnips and then 3 more rows that are later ones that were planted later. I planted them since cessation so that I'll have a whole row ready and then another row ready, and then these 3 short little rows will be ready at the same time. Another cherry tomato and another pepper plant. Over here I have more cherry tomatoes, lots more cherry tomatoes, and the first year strawberries. Let's walk over here. The bucket garden, I still have to harvest 3 buckets of potatoes and a bucket of carrots, and I got 3 buckets of carrots growing on top. This is the new onions I just planted for fall. The radishes I planted for fall. The fall beet harvest. I have bunching onions planted here, but I have yet to see them come up, and I've let the ground go dry. So I may have to re-sow those. The kale over here on this side has got attacked by the cabbage worm. But the 2 kales next to the marigot are still perfectly fine and have not been attacked. I don't understand it. The fall peas are doing well, as the cantaloupe behind it, but I've lost every cantaloupe that was on there except for that one there. The raccoons got in here and took them out. And then we have a bunch of rain, and that didn't help either. Oops, I'm in the shadow again. We're getting in the sunlight. Corn's not that great, but I didn't get any last year. At least this year I have had a bunch of it. I'm going to finish harvesting the rest of it today and hoe these out, and then decide what I want to do with this bed, whether I want to plant something else or if I want to just say put it to bed for the year. We had a pumpkin on the back side, but it died. Over here are the beets that I planted in spring that didn't really do any good. The leeks, which my first year doing them, I'm not for sure what I'm doing with them, but they look okay. And then the butternut squash has gone crazy like usual. I think the last time I counted, there were like 6 squashes on there. Yep, 7. Back here I have more strawberries. The blackberries that I need to trim again, and the grapes. More tomatoes that are almost ready. You see my little garden cat, that's what's been knocking at my foot and everything. The pumpkin, this pumpkin over here is doing really well. The one in the bucket's starting to dry out, but it's also got 2 little pumpkins on it that I'm pumpkins, but watermelons that I'm hoping will soon be ready. I'm keeping an eye on that little curly thing on the end. It's starting to dry up, so we may be able to open that and have watermelon before much longer. I need to get out here and harvest the okra. I already see some that are too far along. When they get this size, they're usually too tough to cook. Here are the beans. These are the bush beans that did so well. I'm letting them dry out. You notice there's a lot of beans on there yet. That's because I'm going to use them as seeds, but they have to dry out on the vine before I can harvest them for the seeds for next year. More of those long zucchinis, not zucchinis, but cucumbers. These are Armenian cucumbers. And I have another not watermelon, but cantaloupe up in the trenches there. I got po beans over there. There were some po beans on this one with the long cucumbers, but they didn't do as well. And then I've got the oregano on the tree. And around the tree, I tried doing let's see, this one's broccoli, and this is broccoli, and this was cabbage of some sort. That was a cabbage. But this is kind of my buggy area. This is where I put plants that I sacrificed for the bugs, hoping that they would leave the good plants alone and just live in here. And I destroy some of them, but I don't take them all. And I'm also leaving these go to seed so I can pop the seed. See, here's a perfectly good seed thing. Pop it, and the seeds fall out. And there is your little seed. So I'm also leaving those for seeds. So that concludes the August tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, hit the little subscribe button and the bell icon, and that way you'll be notified when I put another video out. And remember, dream big. Bye.